Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tiger Talk by Parent and Family Services at the University of Memphis. My name is Heather Hampton, and I am Assistant Director for Parent and Family Services. And today we're going to talk to you all, actually, allow some of our family members to talk to you all. We've got some questions for them. And then, if you are listening live and you have a question that you would like to ask our panelists, then please feel free to do so in the chat and we'll make sure that your question gets asked. We have some special guests here, as I mentioned, our family members. We have a mom of a freshman, that's Jackie Rodriguez, and a mom of a senior, Melody Bradley. We also have Miss Brittany Lester here with us, our parent and family services and student communications coordinator. So we're going to get right into introductions and then jump right into questions. So again, my name is Heather Hampton. I'm Assistant Director for Parent and Family Services.
And I'm Brittany, the coordinator of parent, family, and student communications.
I'm Jackie Rodriguez. I'm the mother of a freshman, and I'm also a staff member at the University of Memphis for the Office of First Generation Student Success. I'm the director there.
And I'm Melody Bradley. I am the proud mom of a graduating senior. I am not a staff member as much as people think that I am because I'm on campus quite a bit, but I am proud alum of University of Memphis, class of 2002, former Mighty Sound of the South band member. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. So we invited parents and family members to be a part of this panel because this is such a popular thing that we do during new student orientation when we're onboarding new families. And so we wanted to take it from the in-person version to a virtual version where you all can be in the comforts of your home or your office or wherever you may be across the world and still be able to be a part of this experience. So we thank Jackie and Melody for being a part and volunteering their time to talk to parents and allow us to drill them with questions, just like they do so often during the summertime at new student orientation sessions. So we're going to jump right into our questions that we already have. And again, if you're watching live, please feel free to pop a question in the chat and we'll get to that question and just let us know if it's for both Jackie and Melody, or if your question is specific for Jackie as a mom of a freshman, or specific to Melody as a mom of a graduating senior. So let's see here. We're getting to our first. We've kind of got these questions divided by topics. So let's get to our first topic here. So, our first topic, changing perspectives. I'll dive in with this question, and this is for both of you all, Jackie and Melody. So, how has your own perspective as a parent changed since your students started college?
You want to start, Jackie?
I can, it doesn't matter. I mean, my perspective, it hasn't changed that much, if I'm going to be honest with you, because I've always looked at college as that transition piece where my son's name is Raphael, where he would take on more autonomy and more independence. Now, my job, the way I see it, is to definitely do check-ins. I'm a little different because I do work on campus. I see him every day. So um, it's difficult for me because in that sense, because I do see him a lot more than most parents have that opportunity to do, I have to learn to not dive in too much, if that makes sense. I have to pull back a little bit and not solve everything as parents love to do. We go in there and we try to solve problems before they even happen sometimes, or look for the barriers. I really need to learn to take a little bit more of a back seat. And so that's what my transition has been more about how I need to be for him, how do I need to be there for him without becoming a barrier myself. So that's something that I work on, every day, because it would be so easy to go in there and fix little things here and there, but I'm absolutely not doing that. So yeah.
And I think for myself, my perspective has definitely shifted. One, when he was making his selection for college, I really wanted it to be his choice, although we did have a little
Just a
little
little
hand,
influence.
just a little influence. Really not as much as you think, as much as people think. We didn't have as much. Um, but as he has grown through the years of being on campus at the University of Memphis, um, taking our hands off and allowing him to bloom there and becoming his own person and finding his own path and making his own way, and making his own connections, and just being on the sideline and watching it. um, my perspective has definitely changed, and just being so grateful for um, the staff and faculty that exist on campus.
Mhm,
I know what that faculty and staff meant to me when I was on campus, and to now see it impact my child, my young adult, and what it has meant for him has just filled me with such gratitude.
mhm.
So just seeing that has just definitely changed my perspective for sure.
That's good. So I think the common theme is your perspective does change
100%.
once they make that transition into college, whether it's you admiring from afar or helping from afar or holding yourself back, as Jackie said,
Yeah. Yeah.
from wanting to dive in. So thank you all so much. So let's move to our next topic here, and I'll um there you go. Academic adjustment. I think Brittany has this question here
Mhm.
um for
I
Jackie first.
Yes, I have different questions for both of you. So first up, Jackie, how did your student handle the shift in coursework intensity from the first day of classes to midterms?
Well, my son came in with a lot of dual enrollment hours, so he was already taking a lot of college courses. So I think we had those discussions, honestly, in his senior year of high school about time management and all of that. Um, I'll tell you my perspective. I work with a lot of first generation students. My son is not first generation, but preparing him as well for the different time periods in college. Like in the beginning, it's easy, and then like towards the mid-October, it gets a little bit more dicey. You start to see some
Mhm.
of those first test grades. And I think the real thing is preparing them for, I'm going to give you an example. And I'm not going to use my son, but I'm going to use examples of like, let's just say for, your first math test in college, like if you're taking calculus, 50 is not bad. Okay. So it's like having that conversation of like, don't freak out if all of a sudden you have a 30 on a test. That doesn't mean you're going to fail a test. It means you gotta retrench, and you got to go to some of these tutoring services. Like I would absolutely recommend for families, and their children, CASA, which is the Center for Academic Success and Achievement. um,
Mhm.
they do these pop-ups now that they're doing where they do one-on-one academic coaching and tutoring. The College of Engineering, that's where my son is, has these amazing peer mentors through, the Herf College of Engineering. So,
Mhm.
and they have all these different things specifically for, calculus, for math, for uh, English. There's so many different ways to get back on track. So really the academic adjustment is in high school, everything has to be perfect in your mind. Everything has to be straight A's. Everything has to, you're looking for 100 on every test. And it's not that you're not looking for that in college, but it's not the only goal anymore. And you're not
Yeah.
necessarily worried about having perfect grades so you can get that scholarship into college. You're looking more about, am I retaining the knowledge I need to prepare me for my career? So, the conversations I've had specifically with Rafa or it's okay, there is no fail, it's a first attempt in learning. Not that he's failing, he's not. but but also just prepare yourself that not everything is going to be perfect, and that's good. You actually learn more through these little bumps than you do through a perfect trajectory, right? So
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
adjustment
That's
is
true.
there. Perfection is boring.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I'm glad you brought up CASA. We recently had a talk with someone from CASA about it, and it has changed tremendously since I was a student here as well. And I think that's a great help and everything else you said as well.
Mhm.
Um, Melody, sorry. What strategies does your student use to stay ahead of the syllabus?
Just like Jackie said, my son came in with quite a few dual enrollment courses. His high school really pushed that and was also really good about preparing them for college with really great study habits and teaching them about advocating for yourself.
Hmm.
So, Chris
Mhm.
is really good about being able to talk to anybody about anything. So, he's great about talking to professors and like I said, advocating for himself, but also grabbing that syllabus and looking through and mapping out what his semester looks like. He is extremely busy with all of the organizations that he's in, all of the meetings that he's got to attend. And the different activities that he's involved in. So he's using his calendar, various calendars, to kind of figure out where he needs to be and how that's going to influence what his coursework is going to look like. So I think it was his junior year that he realized putting all of his courses on Tuesday, Thursdays was going to work best for uh, his meeting schedule.
Hmm.
So that gave him more flexibility for his meeting, and that's just really worked out for him for his academic life. And that proved really well for him. So he uses those strategies. He uses tutoring and study hours, and he even plans some study hours through SGA to help students get together and study. So he uses that to stay ahead, and he carves out specific study time to make sure that he has his coursework in order, because as much as he likes to have a really good time and have fun, he also knows that he's there to graduate and make good grades. So, or make good grades and graduate. So,
Hmm.
That's so true. I mean, you mentioned how busy he is, and I'm sure that a lot of parents can identify, especially when you have that student that is very involved in a lot of different things. So that kind of touches on our next topic of time management and
mhm.
the question of what does a realistic schedule look like for your student now that school has begun? And this can go either way. Melody, with your son so involved and has and mandatory meetings that he has to attend, and then Jackie, since your student started, even though he's coming in with dual enrollment and he's very involved too. So how do what does that time management and balance really look like for your students this semester?
Yeah, I think since when he started on campus, Chris will mention in his kind of journey that when he first came to University of Memphis, he didn't really want to attend there. So he was kind of like, let me make it through the first semester and then I'll transfer somewhere else. But he fell in love with the campus. He fell in love with, the people that he met, and got really involved in organizations. And those organizations is what kept him on campus.
Hmm.
And then being able to manage his time. So seeing him getting involved in different organizations on campus, um, like I said, he keeps everything on calendars. And then there are times that what I like about this is he doesn't involve I most of the time I have no idea where Chris is and what he's doing, because I don't need to know. B, he doesn't live with me. He lives on his own now. But there are some things that he does that he reaches out and says, this is where I need your help.
Hmm.
And we have a joint, like a family calendar, and he'll put those important things on the joint family calendar of like, hey, I need a bigger reminder for these things, so
Hmm.
that I know that he needs to be at this, of like a little extra nudge of like, did you get to the thing on time? Because sometimes we need that. We need a little bit
Yeah.
of accountability. So that has what has evolved over the course of time.
Hmm.
And then he reaches out to me on that. I don't push that.
I mean, it's the same, and really with my son, he's not as involved, I would say, in as many organizations as a freshman, and that's not something I recommend as a freshman, actually. I prefer that they only have one or two organizations with our students as well, because I think you do have to get your feet wet, and you got to
Hmm.
see what the requirements are going to be for your studies, and honestly, Rafa is involved in a couple of organizations. I know he joined Hispanic Student Association. He's an emerging leader. Um, but again, it's really managing of like how much he's involved with to get started, just so that I can make sure that he's not getting overwhelmed. My son does work two jobs.
Whoa.
We are not wealthy in the Rodriguez household, thankfully. I'm just gonna
What?
say it. I mean, we're not wealthy. So our children pay their way through college. That's normal for us.
Hmm.
So he's working, College of Professional Liberal Studies. Big shout out to them. He's a student worker there. And he works, maybe 10 to 15 hours a week there. And then every weekend he's working, at Lost Pizza. Great pizza, by the way. He does a good job. But yeah, he's working two jobs. He's paying his way through college. And I think that that's a normal story for the majority of our students.
Yeah.
So the time management side outside of just involvement is also, work hours. And I'll tell you, in first generation, most of our students are working 30 plus hours. We've surveyed them. We know they're working 30 plus hours and then taking 15 or more hours a semester. So it's like two full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So really the time management piece comes down to it is work-life balance, even at a
Hmm.
college level. And it's good experience for them because they're going to be able to say, I do know how to balance multiple things. And he's of course coming from, he played competitive soccer for years. I mean, I'm sure Melody knows that you have children in high school that are in these sports or in these activities. My daughter's a dancer. I mean, they learn how to manage their time at a very early age, and they have
Hmm.
so many things that are constantly being thrown at them. The calendars are everything. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would say to all of them, as an engineering student, I know he's got 8 a.m.s or 8 a.m. and an 8:30, 4 days a week, maybe five. I can't remember. So it's also like, okay, make sure you schedule in some time for sleep. Don't ever forget
Yeah.
that. Schedule in your
Don't forget to
sleep.
go to sleep.
Please tell your students, we're getting ready to register for spring on November 10th is when it opens up for honor students and DRS. And then it'll be the rest of that week for everybody else. Make sure they're scheduling their breaks. That's really important.
Mm.
Schedule how many, if you know that you're going to be working, like he works 1 to 4 a lot of days for college professional liberal studies. So figuring out that schedule so that he can still have those work hours so that he can then have the weekends, to work his other job. Yeah, I mean, it's a juggling act. I mean, it's the real world though. It's real life, and it's
Yeah.
it's good experience.
Good
Mm-hmm.
skills, learn building those skills for later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Our next topic is campus resources, and this question can be for either of you or both of you. So, which University of Memphis resource, such as tutoring, advising, mental health services, or anything else you can think of, has been a game changer this semester? And when did your student first realize they needed it? Did they come to you for advice?
Melody, you want to go first? I know your student has had multiple resources.
Yeah. I mean, as far as for this semester, or since he's been on campus, I think he's used probably every resource on campus. His freshman year, right as he started his freshman year, or the summer before his freshman year, he had a very weird accident and tore his Achilles.
Mm.
And
Ouch.
yep, and actually went to Frosh camp with a torn Achilles.
What?
Yes,
My goodness.
which yeah, he did that, and so when he right after he started the semester, he had surgery to repair his Achilles. So he spent most of his first semester, on either a knee scooter, crutches, in a boot as he recovered and went to physical therapy. So the Office of Disability Resources was vital for him. They really helped out. He also used the mental health resources because it was a really big challenge. Chris was an athlete in high school. He played football. He also swam. So the transition of not being able to play football going into college, or not being able to even play football at all after that injury, and then also not being able to swim due to the injury and surgery and boot and cast and all that stuff, that takes a toll on a person. So using those resources, but then, like I've mentioned before, with tutoring and advising, Chris has used those resources several times. Quite a bit of just trying to figure out, what path he wanted to take as far as his major, and then tutoring for his different coursework. So, and Chris will also recommend these resources for other students. Um, he's not shy about passing along knowledge and resources to other incoming freshmen or any of his friends or people that he meets, to say, hey, I don't know all of the answers for things, but these people do know the answers, and this is
That's
who
good.
you can go talk to. So yeah, he uses those all the time. He's not afraid to reach out and ask questions.
That's pretty
That's
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll second that. Obviously I'm gonna do a plug for my own office, the office of First
As you
Gen.
Come
should.
on. Yeah.
And what I'll say is, our job is to unpack and simplify the college experience. And we do that for everyone, whether they're first gen or non-first gen, doesn't matter. Anybody can come in here. We have the career closet. We had over 600 students at the career closet pop up yesterday. And we gave out, tens of thousands of items of professional attire, and we've already filled it again today. So we've got donations coming in nonstop. Um, I would say, if I was going to put on my Rafa mask, like my Raphael mask, I think, and I've watched him and I've watched the students around him, I think his biggest resource are his peers.
Mm.
Um, I can talk to him all day about resources, and we have amazing ones like Melody said, DRS, advising. I got to give a shout out to Betsy Lowe in engineering. She does amazing work, and so does Luann Donahue. Um, and of course, Isaiah over there. There's so many people that are willing to step in, that are staff, that are like, hey, let me show you about this. Let me connect you to this. Let me help you with that. But we all know that students really listen, more so to their peers. Let's just be clear. We love it when they listen to us, and they do at times. But if it comes from the mouth of somebody that's their own age, even better. Like if it comes from Chris, he's probably going to listen to Chris more so than he's going to listen to Jackie. It's just true. It is what it is. So there are so many peer mentor groups in different departments. Like we have one in the office of First Gen. I know CASA has one. I know Trio has peer mentors. Peer Powers here on campus. There's so many different groups where they can meet with other students that are their age, that have taken the same class. And I think that's really powerful. I love, like when I hire peer mentors, I love to get students that we call it, and the Sapphire Awards are in First Gen. We call it the Grit and Grind Award. It's that student that might have struggled in the beginning, but then, they found their grind and they were able to get through it. And they have so much knowledge because, like I said, it wasn't a perfect journey. They had so much knowledge about how to get through and what resources to utilize in order to make that happen. So that when they share that with another student, I just think that it connects in a different way. It's relevant, it's relatable. So I think, if your student, I know Rafa has used this, he talks to the first scholars in our office. He's not first gen, but they love to give him all sorts of advice, right? So, I mean, I just think that that's been probably his most used resource. And of course, with other emerging leaders, his roommate's an emerging leader. Brett Parker is amazing. And he's just been a real blessing. So I do see one of our greatest resources are our students themselves.
That's
Mhm.
good. That's
Mhm.
good. And you all kind of talk along those lines with our next topic, social integration, just the students and the peers around.
Mhm.
So our question is, how did your student navigate making friends? Obviously, that's something that I think a lot of families deal with, is thinking about how their students going to integrate socially, especially if they're in a new environment where they don't have their high school friends or they don't have a friend group that's already built in. And even if they do, they're in this new environment and with these newfound freedoms. So parents tend to worry about how their students going to make new friends, or how are the current friendships going to evolve, or are they going to remain intact, or sometimes you realize, I don't we're on two different paths and we can say hello, but we're not going to hang out as much. So how did your student navigate that process of friendships and have those shifts, have those friendships and social circles shifted over time, particularly Melody, for your student, since he's a senior, he may have had friends that were there as a freshman that may not be, in his life or in his circle now that he's, made this journey. So how did your student handle those social interactions?
Yeah, Chris, I would say that Chris holds his friendships very close to him. They are dear. Even though I mentioned earlier that Chris doesn't live with me, there are times that he does come over to the house for dinner, or he just swings by to grab things from my refrigerator, right? Because that just happens.
Sounds
Um,
familiar.
yeah, yeah, you know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. They just swing by and then they just leave with things that they didn't come with. But I can count that there's probably going to be a friend with him always. There's
Mhm.
going to be somebody riding in the car that's going to come in the house that also calls me mom. That is not my child, but
Mhm.
is my child. And they know that if they ever need anything, they can always call me. So, he's met people at the University of Memphis that he didn't know from high school, that you would think that they've known each other since elementary school,
Mhm.
because once Chris grabs a hold of you, he's gonna hold you for life. And that's how he is. Like, he's yours, and that's it. Um, and so there have also been some friends that Chris has known since elementary school that are now at the University of Memphis, and they pick right back up.
Mhm.
Or they've known each other from elementary through middle and high school, and they're still friends. So I think that's a beautiful relationship that he has with some people. So his social circle, it not necessarily has shifted; it's just grown. And
Mhm.
what I like about it is he's grown with it, and he hasn't changed. And so there was a moment where something happened, and we were at an SGA thing, and he was in these different circles, and there were some friends from high school that came to it, but there were some friends he had met in college, and then there was other people, and then there was some faculty and administration, and he popped in from all these different circles, and he was talking to them, and he was the same Chris, but he was talking in these different circles. And I just watched him navigate these circles. And I just thought, that's a wonderful skill to have, to be
Yeah.
able to just navigate all of these different circles, and to just continue to be yourself in all of
Mhm.
those different circles of people, and just be comfortable with yourself. And I love that journey for him,
Mhm.
and for all those people to feel comfortable in the same room with each other too.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a senior and a freshman. No,
Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
Also, I love my son. This isn't a dig, but it's harder. Like, he's more like me. His dad can talk to a tree and have the tree talking back to it.
I've seen that happen, I think.
Yeah, you've seen that happen. His name's Nestor Rodriguez. Anybody, if you know, but
Put
Rafa's
him
a
on
lot like
blast.
me. It takes a little bit longer for us to warm up. We're very introverted, I would say. Yeah, we can be extroverted introverts once we get to know you and we're comfortable. And he's way more comfortable on the University of Memphis campus, but it does take time. I think that the friendships happen accidentally. Yeah, those are the best, right? These
Mhm.
accidental organic friendships that happen because you went to an event, and everybody was being silly. Like the first event, Rafa went to here was Tiger Wars, where we had the lightsaber bridge battle. I mean, you're dressed up in Star Wars, everybody's dressed up silly, you can kind of just let loose a little bit. We do those fun events in our office because we do want people to let loose and not be so um, concerned about appearance or concerned, about what everybody's thinking. Everybody's just having a good time. That works, I would say, for him. So yeah, he's meeting people and stuff like that. I met my best friend, like no lie, Vanessa Muldrow, who is like the director of commencement. She does it all. I met her in geography, right? And it was a struggle. The struggle was there was not supposed to be math and geography, and there was a lot of math and geography, and we were very upset about it, and we bonded for life. So that's how you make your friends. It's not about like, ooh, that could be a good person to be a friend with. They got a good title or whatever. It's really about, hey, we might be struggling together, but we're together.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
gotta give a shout out to Frosh Camp, and I know Chris is a counselor too, and I got to see him at work, Melody, and he's amazing.
Mhm.
But Frosh Camp is really one of those things. Like if you have any high schoolers now, you're thinking about it next year. It really does take students out of that comfort zone, and it gets them out there, gets them meeting people, gets them talking to people before they ever even get on campus. Which
Yeah.
for if you're introverted like we are, like me and my son, that can make a big difference. That can give you that base of people, so you don't feel we call it imposter syndrome, in first scholars and first gen, of course. You don't feel like you belong, but Frosh Camp really creates that belonging before you ever step a foot on campus. So that's another resource, another program that I would recommend. Yeah.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. And I have the hardest time believing that Jackie Rodriguez is any type of
Yeah,
introvert.
I was gonna say
Oh, it,
that.
it,
I
it,
was
it
like,
used to
no,
be
that
there.
can't be true.
It used to be the difference is I'm comfortable at the U of M.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's the difference.
Um, so we're gonna switch topics, switch gears a little bit to living arrangements. I'm not sure if Raphael or Chris lives on campus in a dorm or off campus, but how has their living arrangement impacted their study habits and stress levels from August to now? And just what housing advice would you give other families tuning in?
That's a good
So
one.
Rafa lives on campus. As emerging leaders, they have a living learning community in Centennial Place, which I think is amazing. Honestly, I'm so thankful actually that he does live on campus because I think it's important. I mean, from our perspective, we can see the data. We know that students that live on campus are more likely to be engaged and then more likely to perform well and succeed. Um, I think it's been a really good experience. Of course, you're gonna have fire alarms and things like that going off every now and then.
Yeah.
And you got a budget. You got a budget for dorm life and your meal plans and all of that. It can be a lot, honestly. It was a little tricky to, even as a staff member, it's a little tricky to figure out what meal plan to get and what dorm and what's going to work best, which we were assigned a dorm. I think it's important that they have that experience if they can, because yeah, you're not always going to get a great roommate. But that's part of the experience too, is
Mhm.
learning how to, you know, interact with people that you might not get along with, and there's different ways that you can obviously do roommate switches and things like that. But I think that it is about, learning all these different experiences. They matter. They happen for a reason. He's had a great experience. He loves his roommate. They're like best friends now. That's his accidental friendship. It's going to be for life.
Yeah.
But it is a good experience. He's in there, he sees, other first scholars. Of course, he's friends with a lot of the first scholars from our office. They're in there. It's just a pod. It's a pod. Engineering has a great living learning community. They study together. I know they do all sorts of things. So I think that's really important, and that is a social, integration aspect as well of that on campus living. It allows you to go to more events. It does allow you to be a little bit more engaged on campus if you don't have a car, which a lot of our students, I don't know if any of y'all are the parents out there have experienced, but what I've experienced in my office is so many students don't have their driver's license. I mean, it
Yeah.
is insane to me because when we were 15, when I was
Right.
growing up, we were driving. We had to get out of the house. But I can't tell you how many students I have come in here that don't have their license. So living on campus, that's helpful to them. They're not having to get a ride or ride the bus or anything else to get to campus.
Mhm.
So yeah,
We
it's
may
been a
need
really
to
good
advocate
experience.
for a campus-based DMV.
I think we
Right.
do, and I know someone that could teach it, an alumna. But yeah, we need to have a conversation about, driver's ed again, whether it's high school or college level. Somebody's got to take it up.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. And as for my son, he freshman year he lived on campus. He lived in the Living Learning Complex. He's a honors in honors college, so he stayed on that in the dorm, which was a good experience for him. He grew a lot. He needed to stay in the dorms and live with other people and get to know other people. He enjoyed it. He moved back home for a little bit, which was a bit of a challenge because, like Jackie said, he had to get back and forth to campus.
Mhm.
Um, so he had to really manage his time. Then it was you had to factor in drive time.
Hmm.
It's no longer just walking across campus. You gotta drive to campus. You gotta make sure you find a place to park. You gotta, not be caught by the train to
The
get to campus.
train. Oh
Not,
gosh.
not just, because you don't have to worry about like the walking across the tracks like we did, Jackie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because
Right.
we didn't have that bridge. But you got to get across the tracks with your car, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So it was a bit. And then I think after a while he was just like, yeah, I think I want to, move out and just live on my own, which I was just like,
Hmm.
why would you want to? How many boxes do you need? um and so
Let me
then
help you
he
pack.
yeah, then he found a little rental place that's not too far from campus, that's safe, because I wanted to make sure it was safe, and he's done well.
Mhm.
It's been a good experience for him to figure out how to live on his own and pay his rent and light bill and all of those things. So um it's worked. He studies and eats food, I
Mhm.
think.
See, that's what the
Right.
freshman
I don't
parents,
know.
that's what we call the dream right there.
Yeah,
Right.
Paying his own
Are you
bills.
eating? Are you
he
sleeping?
had his grades have not dropped at all. I believe that he eats. I don't know what's in that refrigerator. I don't open it up. His bills are paid. The lights have not been cut off at all. I don't pay any of those bills over there. He pays all of those. Um, and he had to figure out the whole friend thing because he was one of the first friends that got his own place. So he did have to, he had to have some hard conversations with some friends about, no, you will not come over here all the time. So, and Chris is
Mhm.
good about saying no too. So it worked out.
Mm.
A good
That's good.
segue into adulthood.
Yeah. Yep.
So, for sake of time, we're gonna skip down. I want to hit a couple of these, the financial realities, and then, of course, what your proud moments and final thoughts are. Because I know Jackie's not gonna be able to be here with us much longer. So, we talked about students who have to work one job, two jobs to pay their way through school. We talked about paying bills when you're living on your own or managing, whatever monies you have. So, how did you all deal with any unexpected costs that may have cropped up this semester, or did they not crop up? And then, how have you helped your student make adjustments to their budget, or if if they're still on your payroll, how did you manage any changes or financial issues that may have come up this semester?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Melody. I'll take the last.
Yeah. So while we don't necessarily have like super big unexpected costs that have come up this semester or over
That's
the
good.
years. We've been very fortunate that Chris has been on academic scholarship the entire time he's been at the University of Memphis. Thank goodness. Thank you.
I know.
And he also seeks out constantly looking for scholarships. The Tiger Scholarship Manager, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. Mm.
Is open all the time. So there's students should be looking out there for scholarships. I mean, just he's always looking for scholarships, even though he doesn't qualify. But he's telling other students, look for scholarships. So he was always looking for scholarships. But there are always going to be some unexpected costs that come up. He just recently had surgery on his sinuses, and so that was an unexpected health cost that came up that we obviously weren't looking for. But then, they always have, there's always going to be something, like he needed a new suit for something that we help him with or something like that. So because he's doing other things, and because we don't have to pay necessarily for tuition, we'll help with, and or his rent, he's paying all of that stuff, so we'll pitch in and help with some of the other things that he does have to do.
Well, I have a special guest. Come on over here.
It
Just
must
walked
be
in.
Rafa.
He just walked in. So why don't he answer for himself? Financial. You can't see him.
Oh.
There he is.
Hello.
Financial
Surprise
realities,
guest,
sir.
yes.
So how do you budget?
Well, whenever I get my paycheck, I try to make sure that I'm keeping some for food naturally. But there are a few times where I have to get gas or something, because I always come back home on the weekends, so that can usually go like $30 or $40. So I always try to make sure I have just like enough to keep for that like important things that I actually need.
Food.
Yeah, try not to spend so much on unnecessary
I've had
things.
priorities, huh?
Food. Yeah, I mean, reality is we work together right now as a unit. He's freshman
good.
now. As he gets older, he's gonna get kicked off payroll a little bit more. Sorry, that's happening.
Yeah.
But and the other thing is, a lot of families are dealing with some hardships right now, and budgets are changing.
Yeah,
My husband's a
true.
federal employee. Good times. Our budgets are changing daily. And Rafa does take on a lot of responsibilities. He is working 2 jobs. He comes home on the weekends, but he's not coming home and hanging out at the house. He's going to work. And that's where he works in Collierville. So as a family unit, we work together. And
good.
his sister is about to graduate and be in college too. So we broke. If anybody wants to donate, we will take donations. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah,
That's
That's
good.
it.
That's good. Well, it sounds like you all have a lot of families can take inspiration from you all as far as what you all are doing. Like if their student has to work, how they're managing, and making a budget. Like Rafa said, hey, I gotta have my money for my food. I have to make sure. And then Chris managing with scholarships, and then still having living expenses to pay for, being able to manage that. So I think I admire both of you all and your families. Just I'm sure you're having those conversations about finances and what that looks like. And we try to tell parents to have them before the semester starts because it's important, but also throughout is going to be important as well. So thank y'all for that, and thank you for joining us, Ross.
He walked in.
For sure.
Yeah,
I wanted to throw something out, Heather, while we were talking about financial, with SNAP benefits and everything on pause. Please remember that the Tiger Food Pantry is available for our students, and that is in the University Center. I think it's on the 2nd floor now.
Yeah, 2nd floor.
Yeah, so any student can access the Tiger Food Pantry with their student ID.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely want to support students, and we don't want food insecurity to be a barrier to success. So if your student needs that, definitely encourage them to utilize the Tiger Food Pantry, for sure. And so getting down to, let's just final thoughts and wisdom, and what would be your proudest moment for your student this semester. Tell us that, and then we'll move forward. We'll end with that.
I can go first. He's right here.
No.
I'm gonna go with the proud mom moment because I got him right here. So that's easy for me. Look at you when I say it. I'm most proud. The grades are great and he's doing great. But I am most proud by all the little moments that I get to witness and the little kindnesses that I see. You know, whether it's opening a door for somebody, we talk about that all the time, how opening a door, you know, it can be the largest impact. The smallest thing has the largest impact. But I see him volunteering through our community service learning and volunteerism office. Like I know him and Chris actually just volunteered their whole Saturday. And they were cleaning up a cemetery that had been vandalized. And I thought that was just really a beautiful moment. It's the little things that he does every day to make sure people are included. And, you know, he's working in the career closet. He's working in different places just to make sure this campus is offering different resources for all students. And I love to see that. I think that it may not be like the flashiest thing in the world. You don't see
No,
it.
that's great.
Everybody doesn't always see it, but it's the little things he does that has the largest impacts, and it kind of keeps growing and growing. And I love to see that. And that makes me so proud. So I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Love you too.
Oh, good
There you
job,
go.
Rafa.
So sweet.
All right, now get out of here. No. Go to class. No.
I don't have Chris to pull in here.
I can go get him. No.
He's probably, who knows where he is. But I was thinking a lot about this, just as we are, you know, this senior year, and, you know, he'll be graduating in May, and just, I mentioned something to somebody recently about homecoming, and just, you know, looking out as an alumni. And I said the other day of like, you know, next year for homecoming, you know, and I said, wait, Chris will be an alumni next year. And I said, oh my gosh, like, yikes. That, I was like, I have to sit with that for a minute. I'm so proud of how hard he's worked over these 4 years at the University of Memphis, just putting in a lot of effort to make an impact. And he is far from perfect. And he knows that. He makes mistakes all the time. And like you said, Jackie, that's not a dig at my child, but he does make mistakes. And he's willing to grow from it. But he does work really hard. This semester started off with one of the biggest challenges that a lot of those students didn't see coming. As he started off as SGA president and having to face a lot of criticism and a challenge with multicultural affairs office being closed, and how they were going to handle that. I was most proud on how he handled that and tackled some of those conversations, knowing the impact of that office on so many students. Sitting in that town hall and listening to how he answered those questions and listened to the heart of students, student after student after student after student, and just wanted to be there. That was probably the most proud that I have ever been of him, and seeing how he wanted to lead with care and love, and just sit with students and continue to just be there for them. So, you know, it's not easy, you know, and knowing that he's wanting to do this and be a servant leader, I can't ask for anything more from our students. So that makes me very proud. These kids are facing things that we've never even had to imagine. And so true. If we can think about that as parents and family members supporting our students, they're facing a world we couldn't have imagined. And they're trying their best every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just need to just sit with them and just be silent.
Yeah. Just listen. Yeah.
And just listen. Yeah.
That's wonderful, true. Both of you.
That's good. But we almost got to sit with that right there and just soak that in. You know, it's so important. I appreciate you all so much for taking the time to share your journeys with us, with your student, to share your student on screen with us, and hopefully families feel they can find some relief in some of the parts of your journey that you share with us, they can find a common ground and me too, and hear how you all have handled things and some of the advice and wisdom that you've given, and they can take that in turn and share with their student and really feel supported and as they go through this journey with their student and supporting their students. So thank you all so much for being here today and for taking that time to do that, to share from your hearts. So that concludes our questions. We had a few more categories, but our time is short, so we're gonna allow Miss Jackie. I know you've got to go, so feel free to hop off there, and we will see you soon.
Thank you,
And
Jackie.
I've got a few
Bye,
announcements
Jackie.
here. Few announcements that I'm going to share with everyone. I do want to remind you all that parent and family finals care packages are on sale now, and you have to order through your care package for your student. If you haven't, please order. The ordering window will close November 9th. And also, if you have a student who is graduating this December 2025, you can pre-order your graduation yard signs, and you have to do that by December 5th. And they will be available for you to pick up at Cap and Gown Distribution on December 11th and 12th. And of course, if your student is picking up their cap and gown, they can stop by our table and pick up your yard sign pre-order. But just view our website and click on events and services and down to send some love and parent and family deliveries so that you can get to that link to order yours. Also, we always encourage family members to join the Parent and Family Association. It's your gateway to deeper connection and understanding of your students' experience, a way for you to connect with the university and connect with other family members. Visit our website and click Get Involved to access that link to fill out the membership form for the Parent and Family Association. But we love to connect with you in that way. And that concludes my announcements. This is our last Tiger Talk for fall 2025. We will come in the spring semester with a brand new list of Tiger Talks. So if you have uh, a topic that you want us to discuss, a campus partner that you want to know more about, please feel free to email us at parents@memphis.edu and let us know what those topics are, because we're in planning mode now. We're going to be planning out the spring semester, and we want to make sure we include things that are relevant to our families and things that you want to hear about and learn about. So thank you for attending, and we will see you all on the next Tiger Talk. Have a wonderful day.